Hello, I'm Anna Jordan and I'm a playwright and a screenwriter, and this is my writer's survival tips number 2. Writer PALS. I said in the last video that this was backwards, and then it wasn't backwards when I looked back at the video, which was quite funny. Yeah, so specifically what I wrote about in my tweet was about finding a writer pal, or somebody who gets your work and you and the world that you are part of, to hold you accountable to work. Now, what I mean by this is, if I'm not strict with myself, I will spend a long time working on themes, something I like to do, which is called unstructured thinking, which is just ridiculous, just basically me on the internet. Themes, big ideas, characters, and I leave the writing, the actual writing, very late. What that means is there's a sort of panic to meet a deadline, which when I was younger was quite pleasurable and exciting and thrilling. And now I am older, it is not pleasurable and not exciting. It is just horrible. And so at the time that I wrote this writer's tip, it was John Britton, the brilliant writer and very good friend of mine, who had been my legend that week. Now, when I say about holding a power holding you accountable, I'm not talking about sharing your work with somebody else for feedback, although then that may well be part of it. What I'm talking about, that week that I wrote that tip with John, I had to write an outline of a pilot that I was working on. I knew that on the Monday, no words existed, and by the Friday, say, there needed to be 8 pages of text, and it needed to say what was going to happen in my episode. And that was terrifying to me. So I said to John, I think, I'm going to send you 2 pages of text every night, and I just want you to acknowledge that you've got them and to chase me if I don't send them to you. I wasn't asking him to read them. I wasn't asking him to feedback. I mean, I didn't mind if he read them, but it probably wouldn't have made much sense out of context. But it was just about going, I've got someone waiting for me to send that work. And I think that's a really brilliant thing to do, to have friends, or to have a network of friends or people that you can do that with. Because so much of the work we do, whether we're writing in collaborative partnerships, or you're being commissioned or produced, or you are writing on spec, so you're writing to try to get your work seen or read, or maybe you're just writing for yourself or to enter a competition or whatever, we don't tend to have as many of those hard deadlines that force us to do the work, right? So it doesn't have to be a writer friend. As I say, it should be somebody who gets the world that you're working in, and gets you, and that you trust and that you understand. But something I will say as an addition to this, and about writer pals, is it's really, really wonderful to have a supportive network of friends who do the same thing as you. And I actually didn't have this for a long time, because I started writing at about 27, 28, and I'd been an actor. I'd always been an actor. That's what I thought I was going to do until I died. And it didn't really work out like that. But so for years, I always just thought of myself as I'm still an actor, really, but I write now. I didn't have a lot of writer friends for quite a long time. And over the last sort of 5 to 7 years, I'd say, I've had more and more writers come into my life, and they are brilliant, supportive, inspiring, really funny people who get what we're doing, and understand the hardships, and understand the thrills, and I was going to say spills then, but I don't know what I don't know what I'm talking about, thrills and spills of writing. But I think that's really, really important, and so having a pal to hold you accountable, finding writer pals. Now, what can you do if you don't know where to look, right? As writers, I barely leave my shed as a writer at the moment, and so it's not always easy to just make friends with other writers. But obviously, being online, Twitter, even though it's dying, it's been dying for so long though, right? The other social media platforms, joining groups which have writers, um, but also there's a playwrights Christmas party every December. I'm just going to look it up here because and the you can follow more on Twitter. It's at Playwrights Xmas. We do a big playwrights party every Christmas. It's been going on for 11 years. It's me and John Britton organising and some other people this year. And it's just a really brilliant way of bringing writers together. To me, it's not a networking event. It's not about furthering our careers. It's about being part of a community. So you can come with your friends. It's at the Bush Theatre this year, 2023, on the 10th of December, starting at 6 p.m, ending at midnight. You can come with friends. You can come alone. Lots of people came alone last year and it was really lovely. And we're going to have hosts there and people that will be able to introduce you to people and you won't feel awkward, I promise. So I talk a lot about community, and I think we need to think about ourselves in terms of a community a lot more, not just because it will help to further our careers, but because life is very hard and the world is a very difficult place, especially at the moment. And actually, if we're going to do this, either for a job or for a passion, let's make it as easy and comfortable and meaningful as possible. And I think being part of a writers' community is a part of that. Yeah. So that's writer's tip number 2, find writer pals.